All right. What's going on, people? It's your boy DB4, and welcome to my channel. And I wish you guys can see the smile on my face. We are here for some Tom Clancy's ENDWAR. Oh man, this game is one of the greatest games ever created. Quick history lesson. Tom Clancy's ENDWAR is an amazing real-time strategy game. Now this game is very old, but I'm so excited to bring this game to you guys and just bring this to the channel. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you guys are going to enjoy. If you are a subscriber of the channel, welcome back. And we got a great playthrough for you guys. Now, Tom Clancy's ENDWAR, quick history lesson. This game was created by Ubisoft back in 2008. Now, I first played this game as a demo for the PlayStation 3 all the way back in October of 2008. It was one of them random days where you just go on the PlayStation Network and download a game. Now, I was excited about it because it was a Tom Clancy game. If you know anything about Tom Clancy had a great record for making excellent video games back in the early 2000s. Now, we talking about Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six 2 New Vegas. Those were like the hottest games out at that time, and I was a huge war buff. I was a huge World War II buff. So when this game came out, it was amazing. It's based on a concept of World War III and things of that nature. Now, this game came out as a demo, so when it released and finally came out in November, I jumped on it immediately. I couldn't wait to get this game. Now, when this game came out, me and everybody I know that played it was very excited. This game had voice control, one of the very few games that I ever seen with voice control. And back in those days, in the early console era, there wasn't a lot of strategy games for the console. This game released first on console, and then it came to PC. Now, this is the PC version because actually I attempted to buy this game in the past a few times for my PlayStation 4, the disc version, and the disc just didn't work. And actually my original copy of this game just stopped working a long time ago. So that's a story for a whole nother video. But the state of the game now, Tom Clancy's ENDWAR. As of now, the multiplayer servers are kind of shut down. I'm not sure if you can play skirmish mode multiplayer, but there was a theater of war mode where you choose your faction and you did like an online campaign. You played PvP battles with people on online, and at the end of the week they added up the stats, and you took control of different territories on the map. It was real innovative, real dope, real unique. They don't do that anymore. I don't know what happened to that. So right now you can currently do skirmishes against the AI, and we can do solo campaign. Now, with this series, we're going to focus on the solo campaign. There's tons of content there. There's at the very least 3 different campaigns you can play through. There's the Europeans, the Russians, and the Americans. I'll show you guys that. There's also the Prelude to War, was like a tutorial, and then there's the World War II campaigns. The World War III campaigns, I'm sorry. But there's 2 different victory conditions. I'll show you guys that. So that adds a lot of replayability. Then there's the different battalions. That also adds a lot of replayability. We're going to get into as much content as possible. I love this game. I just can't wait to get into it. So without further ado, let's start. Now, we're going to start a brand new game. Fresh from start. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a brand new profile. Now, I did test campaign just to see how things run and to get used to using the mouse and keyboard, because when I originally played this game, it was a fully voice acted, but it was controller, so I had to get used to mouse and keyboard. I don't think there's controller support for the PC version of the game, so it does play a little bit different and the speed is a little different. So we're going to create a brand new campaign. We're going to make this DB4. Hold on 1 second. We got to make sure this is all caps now. We're going to make this DB4 new campaign or YouTube. Now, this is going to be our first YouTube campaign. We're going to have a few of these. I just want to put so much of this content because when I go back and I actually think about it, let's start this one. When I go back and think about it, this was actually my introduction to YouTube. When I first started watching YouTube consistently, back in the early 2010, 2009 era, ENDWAR was one of the first videos I watched, because I used to watch tips and tricks videos on ENDWAR, because this game was kind of hard for me back in the day. So it was one of the first games I ever researched on YouTube on how to get better strategies on playing multiplayer and things like that. So yeah, I kind of got into YouTube watching ENDWAR videos. So that was years ago. So we're here now. That's why I'm super excited to bring this to my channel, because I remember watching hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos trying to figure out how to do the best of I possibly can in these campaigns. But enough chit chat. Let's get right to it. Let's get to the solo campaign. Now, when we're going to start a new game, we obviously can't continue. Since this is a brand new profile, we also have to start with the Prelude of War, which is most likely, well, basically the tutorial.
Welcome, Commander, to the Revolutionary Overlord Battle Command Interface by Masada Systems Limited.
And we're gonna quit the voice trainer. Now, I do want to do a 100% voice trainer playthrough, but not for the first time through. And I want to see if I can actually get through an entire campaign without the game crashing and things like that. And then we'll do the voice controls and the voice commands. So we're gonna exit the trainer. We're also going to play this campaign on expert mode.
(2016) Nuclear terrorism in Saudi Arabia kills 6 million and cripples the world's oil supply. 2017, the joint US-European missile shield goes live. The world celebrates the end of nuclear warfare. The stage is set. Now the world's leading supplier of oil and natural gas, Russia spends billions on the biggest arms buildup since the Cold War. The European Federation is created with a population and GNP greater than the US. 2020, America begins assembly of the Freedom Star military space station. The end has begun.
Calling the Balkans an anarchy of failed states, President Becerra blamed the European Federation for abandoning the region.
Unable to guarantee access to petrol, the governments of many Balkan nations simply evaporated.
Europe can criticize our Venezuela policies once it's dealt with the crisis in its own backyard.
Unlike the US, we do not play policeman beyond our borders.
General, satellite imaging shows tanks offloading from the ship and moving to attack our uplinks along the Adriatic coast.
Have Colonel Maldini log on immediately.
Alright, I didn't want to say anything because as the mission starts, you'll get these little pop-ups in the right-hand corner over here. It's like little news clips about what's going on around the world. You'll get some mission reports. You'll get, they'll talk about your previous attack. They'll talk about upcoming attacks. They'll talk about propaganda. It's a lot of fun things that happen in that little right-hand corner. So I don't like to speak through that because that's actual. It's like cutscenes, but they do it in a real clever way. Also, we have some things over here. Do you have the save game option? And I do advise you to use this as frequently as possible because if you do get a crash and you have to start a mission over from scratch, and it can be tough because these missions, they usually play out different because the AI is not going to do the same thing every single time you play them. So, you might have the upper hand in one battle, and then when you reload it, the AI went with a totally different strategy, or, your timing was a little bit different, and it plays out totally different. So it's good to save the game after every mission at the very least. You don't want to lose your command points and your score. I'll tell you about that later. Then, you can change the difficulty whenever you want. But this is the very first tutorial mission, Act 1, Warning Signs, Prelude to War, the Battle of Istria. So let's get it started. We start off in Europe, so let's go. And by the way, that cutscene is amazing. Now, I just want you guys to imagine this real quick before we start it up. This game came out in 2008, so a lot of the things that they were talking about, like 2017, this happens and this happens over oil, these things didn't seem too far-fetched at all when we was considering the direction the world was headed in. It's just so amazing and weird at the same time to play this game in hindsight and see that most of this stuff actually happened. And you know, we are doing a lot of technology and space and things of that nature. So yeah, playing this game in hindsight almost about 15 years later, it's just crazy how Ubisoft and, you know, Tom Clancy was almost spot on with some of this stuff. It's just funny. But yeah, thank God there hasn't been a World War III, but let's get into it.
Colonel Maldini, Europa is under attack by forces unknown. An unregistered cargo ship ran aground on the coast of what used to be Croatia, then offloaded a dozen or more T-80 tanks that are now firing upon the missile shield uplinks we maintain across the border, in the lawless zone. I have ordered regular infantry units stationed at Fort Turun to repulse the attack and take hold of the cargo ship, so we can determine who is behind this attack. Your gunships will provide close air support. Capitan Chumino will serve as your executive officer. For Europa, Colonel, ensure the success of your mission.
For Europa, Colonel. Oh man, my first playthrough was as a Europeans, and yeah, I had a rough time because I didn't know that they were kind of the weakest, you know, faction. So man, I just got fond memories of him saying, "You failed the objective, Colonel." General Amadou de Banco. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I know I probably butchered it. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, let's get into the first mission. Mission objectives. You have some key points of interest here. We don't have to worry about that too much this game. The objective is to eliminate all hostiles. So let's get it. Let's go take them out. Colonel. At the moment, we're not allowed to change our units, but when we get further into the campaign, they'll allow us to switch what type of units we deploy. For now, we just have our gunships. Yeah. Start the mission. Those are the basic controls.
Colonel Maldini has logged onto Overlord. Data stream is secure.
Are our units,
Camera on Zircon.
like our
Gunships
chopper here is
designated
unit
Unit
1, and then so on. It'll be like Unit 1 through 12, and that are keys 1 through
Unit 1 cleared to engage Hostile 1, displayed on HUD.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that this lady drops in your HUD, or not on your HUD, in your headphones, so you gotta pay attention to that.
The enemy.
Now, the way this game works with the combat, there's a rock, paper, scissors combat style. That's what makes this game so interesting. But there is a lot more nuances to that little dynamic. Basically, choppers beat tanks, tanks beat infantry transports, and infantry transports beat
Unit 1
choppers.
cleared to attack
That's
Hostile
the
1.
typical armor triangle with the rock, paper, scissors. Then you also have artillery, which artillery has an advantage against armor at a distance, and it has at a complete disadvantage to choppers. So it's real good against armor at a long distance, but it's completely ineffective against choppers. They can't even defend themselves,
Hostile
so you
destroyed.
have that. Let's go destroy these tanks.
Uplinks Bravo and
Then you have the
Foxtrot under
infantry
attack.
units. You
Designated
have-
BNF on mission
Hold on.
radar.
Okay, she's talking about the uplinks. Then you have the infantry, you have regular riflemen, and you have engineers. Engineers are good against armor, riflemen are good against other infantry. So then you have that little dynamic. So there you have it. It's like a simple rock, paper, scissors, but it gets real complicated.
Unit 2
and then you have
entering
different
mission
unit
area.
levels and special abilities that help even the playing field. Like I was just saying, it's teaching you how to select the unit and use voice commands and things like that. It's telling you how to just click the unit and stuff like that. We don't have to worry about that.
Good work. Second hostile destroyed.
Okay, we have another group of choppers coming in. We can actually double click this unit and it'll bring us to this unit's perspective. Now, the way this game works with the camera, it's a little bit confusing at first, but you can only, for the most part, you're going to be using a perspective of whichever unit you have selected. So you'll get their camera view. Like if I switch to part unit 1, I'll get his perspective. and so on. If I switch back to Unit 2, I'll get his perspective.
Hostile
And
3
things
still
like that.
operational.
And that's how you'll
Let's take care of
genuinely
them.
control your view of the battlefield. And it also counts as to if you have an infantry, you'll get a more low to the ground perspective of the battle because infantry are obviously on the ground. Same thing for tanks and other pieces of armor. So that's something to consider. There is a way to freely move the map around yourself, but you know, you usually just get the perspective of the unit you're controlling. Now I'm gonna send these choppers over to start working on these tanks because these guys are good. They should be able to finish these guys off with no problem. Now, one thing to note.
3rd hostile destroyed. 2 to go. Hostile 4 still operational. Unfinished business.
While helicopters do great damage
Massive
against
detonation at the
choppers,
cargo ship. They've blown it up.
they're not defenseless, you know, like artillery. They can shoot back. It's just that these tanks are shooting at infantry at the moment. So, you know, they're not focusing on our choppers, but be aware, your choppers can take damage from a
4th
tank just
hostile
because
destroyed.
they
Just 1 more to go.
have an advantage. It
Hostile
doesn't
4
mean
still
they're
operational.
invulnerable.
Unfinished business.
Unlike the artillery, where they take no damage from artillery at all. So it's good to hunt down artillery with your gun kit. And these are just basic riflemen that just deploy every map. You know, they give you some regular basic riflemen to help you fill out the map. And you know, you don't really have control over them. They just take their position, their defensive positions, and just fight
All
the enemy
hostile armor
automatically.
destroyed. Uplinks are secure.
This is High Command. What is the extent of damage to the ship?
The destruction is total, General. It's still burning.
I want a full investigation of the wreckage. We need to know who is behind this attack. Until we do, details of this mission are to be considered classified. High Command out.
Yeah, that was the end of the first mission. Now, I'm going to give a lot more details of how this stuff works, how the abilities work, how the units work, sort of different types of strategies. But we're going to save most of that stuff for when we get into the actual strategies, when we play the World War III version. But for the Prelude to War, I'll let the game do most of the explaining. And as they explain, I'll give little details here and there. But yeah, that's the first mission. We can press escape to continue. As you can see, 2 units survive, our 2 choppers survive. This is our after-action mission report. We were awarded 113 credits. We got a command rating of A. The command rating is important. It determines how many credits you get at the end. So you want to have a good command rating. Usually you get an A or higher if you don't lose any units or take that much damage. So that's pretty good. And they also give you a famous quote at the end of every battle. And these are actual quotes. So if you want to read these from actual people in history, if you want to read these, you can do that as well. That's also dope. You can also go to the details and it'll show you what happened. These units do have individual names, so each unit you will grow attachments to them. See, Zircon and Tungsten, yeah, they both survived. They didn't get a rank up. You see they type in their status. You can see their awards, mission results, mission report, and the funds. You know what I mean? Base compensation 31 credits, victory bonus 41, territory bonus 0 because we didn't capture anything, performance bonus 41. So you do get a big bonus for just how you perform. So that rating is important. Equal to 113 credits. AI commander only got 30 just for base compensation. It's not important. We don't really care about how many funds he get right now. So far, that's all I can explain on this mission, so we can exit.
In just a few minutes, the Freedom 4 will launch into orbit on its mission to complete the Freedom Star, America's first manned space defense station.
Tens of thousands took to the streets of Paris to protest the imminent launch of America's orbital battle station. Despite the outcry, the US president has vowed the launch will go forward as scheduled.
That we're going to launch this thing, there's no stopping us. Wait a minute, wait. I think we've heard some explosions.
Mayday! Perimeter breach north of the launch pad. Multiple vehicles opening fire.
So apparently the Americans are currently being attacked at JFK Space Station, but that's the next mission. I guess we're going to get into that mission next time. I just wanted to show you guys the very first mission of the Prelude to War, Act 1, and I also wanted to give you guys a little intro to the series. We're going to do way more than one mission the next time we come back for the second episode, but I just want to give you guys an intro to the series and give you a little bit of the direction we're going to be going with this game. We're going to play through the entire campaign with all 3 factions, so stay tuned for that. I really appreciate everybody for pulling up and watching this video. I really appreciate all the support on the channel, and with that being said, it's your boy DB4, and I'm out.